right. So we are now going to talk about the different types of interviews and how we're going to expect something a little bit different from each of them. So starting off with virtual interviews, phone, video interviews. Ben, high level, give me your thoughts.
I break this down into two categories. We don't see true telephone interviews as much, at least from my end of the looking glass, as maybe I used to. And now they're both, it's either phone or virtual in the first round, typically speaking. I do still think there are some things to know about both types of interviews going into them, that more universal knowledge than anything else, just to help you prepare and help you, kind of engage whatever that medium or mode is, for lack of a better phrase. For a phone interview, obviously they're not there seeing you face to face. They're not there encountering you on an eyeball to eyeball level. But I think it's important that you still convey your energy and enthusiasm in a way that, expresses interest in the role and expresses that you've got a good personality and that you're a sharp and engaging human being, right? I always tell people, for a true phone interview where they're not able to see you on a screen like you all are me right now, to have access to resource materials there available to you for quick reference. Going back to the ways that Ciara and I kind of line up our job descriptions and our resumes, I would have both there, as well as any company notes that you may have on that organization that you found in the studies that Clint referred to earlier also. So, but have some quick reference information there that you can quickly access, just to keep you on task, keep you on point, keep your mind sharp as you're kind of going through that conversation. I do tell people to be very mindful of their energy as well. One thing that I've always noticed when it comes with folks interviews is if you're sitting down for a long period of time, it can tend to lead to lethargy and lethargy, and we don't want that. We want, folks that have the energy level built up. So don't be afraid to stand. Don't be afraid to take a slow walk at a slow pace around the room. Don't walk at a fast pace or walk uphill so you're out of breath as you're talking. But just do things that are going to maintain your energy. I always tell people, regardless of whether it's a phone or a virtual interview, to be in a quiet place with no distractions. Obviously you don't want dogs or kids running through the room, at unexpected times. Some things you can't help, and we've learned, obviously post-pandemic, when we were all shuttered into the world and away from offices in 2020 and 21. A dog can run into the room when you're at home, but just be mindful to set aside safeguards to prevent distraction where you can, from that standpoint. Clint, do you have anything that you'd like to add on the phone side before I dive into the video piece?
I think you covered a lot there, and it's great. I think, no, it's great. On the phone side is just, it's hard to catch any type of physical cue, right? It's because you're just on audio. So make sure to, when you give a pause after you answer, like I was saying earlier, ask them like, hey, do you need more information? Or does that make sense? Like when you wrap up your answer, open that door for them to pick it apart a little bit more versus make it sound like that's end of your thought process and you don't want to say anything else. Because you can see somebody's face if you're on video, if you're in person, be like, oh, I could tell they're looking for a little bit more. They're squinting at me and leaning towards me like, yeah, tell me a little bit more. But you can't catch on the phone. So make sure to give those little pauses, say, would you like more information? Do you need me to clarify more? Like prod a little bit and see if you need to keep on giving more information.
Leaving room for conversation, we'll say. Absolutely. When it comes to a video interview, I generally tell people that this is very much like an in-person interview, with a few caveats. Obviously, you're staring at a box like we are today, but your eyeball to eyeball, they see your posture, they see your dress, they see your physical presentation, right? So just being mindful really of a few things there. Now, obviously pre-engagement, you want to make sure that your equipment's working properly, which maybe my network issue at the top of this call could demonstrate that. But yeah, make sure that you're well positioned when it comes to lighting, when it comes to your camera angle, when it comes to your backdrop. You want to make sure that you're in an area where, if you don't have the nice little S&I technology and agile resources banner that Ciara and Clint both have, that you're not sitting in front of an open window with cars going by back behind you and so on. So just being mindful of all of those things. From the video side, the last thing I'll say is this. Again, you're not in the room, but you are. They see you, you see them. So just be very mindful of your posture, your body language, your nonverbal communication pieces that Clint alluded to earlier that you can't see on a phone interview. Make sure that you're maintaining that, that cheerful personality, maintaining good eye contact, being an active listener to what's being asked of you, and just treating them like they're in the room on that standpoint. Clint, what about you?
Yeah, 100%. They're also saying that if their company is 100% virtual, which, there's companies out there now that could be 2,000 employees and they're 100% virtual. What they see of you in that moment, they're going to compare it to, is this similar to everybody that's working remote for us right now? Like, is your interview presence look like everyone else I've talked to throughout my day? And if you're completely out of whack compared to what they are used to seeing for everybody's their coworkers, you're really going to shoot yourself in the foot. A couple quick warnings and then a hack. Don't do the call from your cell phone with your arm as the tripod. So don't do this to them. Don't be walking around like you're FaceTiming your best friend from college, showing them, what your dog did lately. No, either if you have to take it from your phone, because sometimes your camera phone is better than your laptop phone or your laptop camera. I understand that. Take your phone and just put it right there on your laptop and like just set it still. Don't hold it the whole time. That way you're going to actually keep it focused. If someone's got a moving camera the whole time, it drives us nuts if you're interviewing them. The other pieces, do not do it from your car and have your car dashboard mount as your video, like to hold your camera. We get it, everybody's busy and they're in transition, but do not interview from your driver's seat of your car. It's distracting for the viewer even because they're worried about you. Like, wait, are you driving right now? Are you at a busy place? Are you waiting for somebody to show up to get in the car too? Like, it creates an anxiety for the person that's even watching the videos. Don't do that. Hack. If your lighting is poor around you and you don't have, professional studio lighting or a really, really bright room, just go grab your nightstand light or like a lamp that's somewhere else in the house. And just for that call, throw it right behind your laptop. I'm pointing to right by my laptop. You can't tell. And then take the knob off the top and take off the whole shade, the lamp shade. And so it's like really ultra bright. And just have it just for that, 30 minutes, hour call that you have. It might be a little hot, but just put it right behind your laptop so you get this really good lighting, just at least to get through that call. Because that's one of the things sometimes you'll get into an interview and like it's so dim lit, it just doesn't it's hard to see that person. It might create some type of weird silhouette around them because they got backlighting, but they don't have light coming towards their face. So that's just a quick hack. Just borrow a lamp from another part of your room or the house and take the shade off just for that particular call.
Sure. I don't think I'll piggyback up that real quickly. I don't think that professional lighting and the boom lamps are necessary. What Clint just described there is 100% accurate. At the end of the day, as long as you're in a well-lit, clean space with no visual visual distractions around you, you're fine as far as setting is concerned, in my view. But yeah.
And Ben has something he says that I wanted to go off of. Ben, you used the quote that you are your own producer. And I love that.
I absolutely feel that way. At the end of the day, your first impression to that individual, if it's the first time they've laid eyes on you, you have to be mindful of how you are presenting yourself. But yes, you are your own producer.
And I'll give two quick examples on that. I was hiring customer service roles, like a low-level entry, and I was interviewing this woman, and I heard something, and I'm like, ma'am, is there something going on in the background? She's like, oh, I'm just in the shower. You can call me back later. This is not that important. So, you don't think people will do these things, but people always surprise you. And on the flip side, I had a candidate interviewing, and in his background, he had the same, I think it was Star Wars, but he had like a fancy Lego set. And the hiring manager had the exact same Lego set in his background.
Oh, no, that's awesome.
I'm not saying that got him the job, but that was a huge leg up. So visually be very, very aware of the energy you're giving off of what's going on in your background. If you do want a virtual background, Canva, Canva has a bunch of free options. You can Google free options. I would just recommend something that is minimalistic in nature. You don't want like swirls or visual, something that's going to be crazy and distracting. And at the same time, I always remind people that a video interview means on video with you. It is not the little Teams avatar. You need to be camera on.
So,
All right.
yeah,